folks, welcome to Economic Observations. My name is Chris. Today is Friday. It is the 5th of March. Wow, 2 days in a row. I'm kind of really liking my studio and I hope I deliver some good content. Look at this today. The Dow rallies 572 points. This is not linked to the real economy, folks. Unbelievable that the Dow turned around 570 points. It is looking ahead to the stimulus package. Speaking of stimulus package, they're doing some minor adjustments due to unemployment negotiations. They are eliminating the $400 request and bringing it down to the $300 that is currently in place. And by doing this, they are also trying to extend it. Right now it ends on August 29th, and they are trying to extend it until the end of September. They are also trying to include in the bill that the first $10,000 of unemployment is tax-free. We'll see where it goes. It's stalling in the Senate a little bit. The $15 minimum wage also stalling or getting rejected in the Senate. So it doesn't look like that's going to pass. So stay tuned on that. There's still a lot more going on with this. Nothing is etched in stone right now. So we are waiting for full confirmation, and then we will know whether or not it passes. I believe that the Democrats want this to pass this weekend. The unemployment that's currently in place ends next week, and I think they want to just be able to have it approved so unemployment can continue for the millions of people. Speaking of millions of people, there are over 18 million people on some form of unemployment. Even though they come out and say that the jobs are coming back, the economy is roaring, and the unemployment rate is 6.2%, which we know is a farce. And maybe many of those people have just simply dropped out of the labor force. There's just no jobs. And speaking of that, I talked to a friend of mine last night after I made the video. Her son-in-law has been working in the restaurant industry for many years. He managed 2 restaurants. He was in charge. I guess he oversaw all the staff, did all the ordering. One restaurant hasn't opened since the pandemic, and one opened briefly for the summer. He took a voluntary furlough before Christmas, thinking that when things opened up, he would get his job back. And he got a phone call yesterday saying, "I'm sorry, but your job has been eliminated." 56-year-old guy, been in the restaurant industry all his life, worked for this company for over 10 years. Now he's at a point in his life where he doesn't know what to do. Let's face it, there are no chef jobs or management jobs in that industry. He was a chef most of his life. This company sought him out 10 years ago. And now he is jobless. And I guess, in talking to my friend, she said it was quite a surprise. I'm not quite sure how it could be that shocking in the restaurant industry. I guess he should be lucky that he held off this long. Anyway, so as 750,000 people lose their jobs every week, the stock market rallies up 572 points, closing at 31,496 points. This is so disconnected from reality. What's going to happen? It is just contingent on this stimulus, because you know that the Fed is going to be pumping more money and more stimulus checks are going to go into that stock market, thus just creating this huge bubble. Job growth in February signals the start of a hiring boom as the economy reopens. Job growth surges in February on hiring jump in restaurants and bars. March 4th, it says the economy likely added more jobs in February, but there's no bounce back yet. Yesterday we talked about Americans just one pink slip away from losing it all. Today we're going to talk about how much debt the average American has and where that debt is bundled into. This article that I'm reading, they did a survey with American adults and asked how worried were they about their finances due to COVID. And over 60% said they were somewhat or very worried, and people were taking steps to ease their worry. 42% were keeping more cash on hand, and 37% were having more groceries and supplies delivered to their homes. 26% were eating out much less. Here's an interesting statistic. Here's a snapshot of consumer debt. It's saying credit card debt accounts for about $5,300. Personal loan is $16,500. Auto loans, almost $20,000, $19,703. Student loans, $38,792. HELOC, $41,954, and the average mortgage is $208,500. So that is the average debt. Consumer debt is at $14.2 trillion, folks, with Americans carrying an average personal debt of $92,727. That is absurd. That figure includes credit cards, student loans, and HELOC, which is home equity lines of credit. The average balance is $41,954. Folks, people, it says 12% of adults have a home equity line of credit. Again, they are using their homes as ATMs. I remember when I was a kid, and I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. My parents rented an apartment. There were no massive lines of credit available. You had to come down with a lot of cash to get a mortgage. But mortgages were acceptable, but there was no credit card. There was no, I gotta have it now. My mom had green stamps. I don't know if you remember green stamps, where you collect these stamps and you bring it in and you get a free toaster or you get a free blender or whatever, right? She would put Christmas gifts every year for my brothers and I on layaway, and she would pay them off slowly. We didn't go on vacation. I mean, if we did, we went camping at a Boy Scout camp, and rented a cabin for a few days. That was the extent of my childhood. I remember my mother borrowing from relatives to pay an electric bill, or borrowing money from Peter to pay Paul. But there was never this massive amount of debt. And I don't know if everyone can handle the amount of debt that's available to them. There are people who just go out and spend money like it's going to last forever. Folks, the government can't bail us out forever. Imagine for 1 minute when the coronavirus started a year ago and the government didn't pass the CARES Act. There were no forbearances. There were no moratoriums. There was no stimulus, and there was no unemployment. What would this country look like? You look at LA and see the homeless population. There's over 45,000 in the county alone that's homeless. If you include some surrounding towns, it's over 80,000 people. What would we look like without the quantitative easing that has taken place? I just want you to think about it for a minute, because this is real, and this is what America really is. I mean, think about it. No stimulus, no unemployment, no forbearance, no moratoriums. It shows us that people are living beyond their means. We are living in an economy that is not real. We are dependent. The government has people dependent on them. And we know that the government cannot do this forever. We are the United States of America. People should have jobs. We should make things. I have a lot of thoughts on a lot of different things, folks. And maybe those jobs will come back, and maybe we'll start manufacturing them, but they're not going to be great jobs, but they're going to be a job. You can't have unions fighting for people to say, we want this and we expect this and we need to make $60 an hour. You can't pay $60 an hour for someone to make a sweater or a pair of jeans or even a piece of furniture. They're going to be jobs, and they're going to be consistent, steady, good jobs. You're not going to become rich, but you'll be able to live. America needs help right now. There are no jobs. We are hemorrhaging jobs every day. Hemorrhaging. And the government has us dependent on them. And it is so, we are in such a precarious situation right now. But imagine, just imagine for 1 minute, that the government put nothing in place. Imagine there were no food banks or SNAP programs, whatever you want to call it. What kind of world would we live in? What kind of world could we afford to live in? And yes, I understand that the government says we need a booming economy. We need that credit, right? We need people to go out and spend money they don't have. But what did we create for ourselves? How much longer can we continue doing this? I don't know, sleep on that tonight, folks. Great to talk to you again. I missed you. I hope to be back real soon. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, and we'll talk again soon.